we're gonna try and find a place.
What are you guys doing up there? Come down here. Come down here. Down one. All right, down here. Let's go. All right. So, I'm up there.
I don't know.
Let me go get him. Okay, let me go get him.
He's gonna go get you guys.
Hey! Hey! Come down here.
Down here.
All right, guys.
You
guys
made
are
it.
Finally here.
Finally.
I don't know you guys were way up there for. How'd you even get up there?
I don't even know how they got up
How'd
there.
they get up there?
But you know what? We're glad you're here. Finally, we're gonna do a tutorial today. Holy crap! We've been talking about doing one for like, I don't know, 7 episodes.
7, 8, 9,
10.
15 years.
Yeah, 15 years. So
Yeah.
today we're out here in the middle of
Nowhere.
nowhere. Literally, we just turned down some dirt road and
Yeah.
like try and turn around and like, you know what? This place is super cool.
There's a chicken farm over there. It smells terrible.
It does. I wish you could smell it. I wish YouTube added like a smell thing.
Oh, it's like a scratch and sniff. But
Yeah.
a click and sniff?
Click and sniff.
Click
I think
and
we just
sniff.
started something. Click and sniff.
YouTube, let us know.
Click it. So, what should we start with first?
So today we're going to talk about 3 different things. The 3 camera basics that's going to kickstart your whole entire photography, mastering, buttery shots, and just making you understand photography even more.
Now, is this just for people who have DLSRs or people with phones?
DSLRs.
Yes, that's the word. See, I'm still learning, people.
So not just for DSLRs. This can also be put over into SLRs, so film cameras. Certain phones have the ability to shoot in a manual mode. So the 3 things we're going to talk about today is shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. So let's kick it off and talk about some shutter speed.
Let's do it.
Let's go talk over there. Let's go. Guys, come on.
You guys are killing me every time.
Come on. All right, guys. So, first thing we're going to talk about is shutter speed. So on your camera, if you are in manual mode, you probably won't be able to sit in here. I will put a little diagram on the screen. It is going to be your first number. It goes from a range of things from bulb all the way to 1 and then thousandths of a number. So the faster your shutter speed, you're going to be able to stop motion. If it's a lot slower, you're going to actually see the motion. So we're going to try a little thing right here. We're going to start with a fast shutter speed first. We're going to start with 1/1600 and see if we can stop Josiah in the midst of a drive. So, here we go. So I'll put that up on the screen for you guys and show you how we stop the motion. So the faster the shutter speed, you're right there in the front of your camera, your mirror is gonna flip real fast. The shutter's gonna open and close super fast. That's gonna freeze your motion. So one thing we're talking about shutter speed, so long exposures. So I'll put an example right here. So water, you wanna make your water look more smoke-like or fog-like. You give it a longer opening time, so a slower shutter speed. That'll give you this milky, nice, delicious flow. So let's try this again. Let's talk to Josiah real quick, see what he's talking about. So now we're gonna try that again, and we're gonna put it on a slower shutter speed. So I think we're gonna drop it down to somewhere about 1/125, just to give you an example. So we have Josiah go back down there and do this again. So here we go. With slower shutter speed, you're actually gonna get to see a little bit of that motion there. This truck's still gonna be very visible, but you're gonna definitely see a lot of motion in your picture. So here we go. All right, so here you go. Here's an example of a shutter speed at 1/125. So you see the difference in that. Yeah, you can change your shutter speed, not just based on motion, but also based on the amount of light you have. So if you have a lot of light and you need to cut that down a little bit, faster shutter speed, less light will come in. So let's get Josiah back over here and let's move on. Let's tell him to hurry up. Come on, Josiah, hurry up. Let's go.
You guys get it now?
This guy. Get out of here. All right, guys, here it comes. Number 2, aperture. So Josiah, give us what you just learned about aperture.
Well, I learned that it's super important because I have been shooting for a while and I didn't realize how important it is. But basically, from what I understand, what aperture is the higher the number, the smaller the hole, which lets less light in, and then the smaller the number, the bigger the hole in the lens is, so it brings in a lot more light. So that has a lot to do with like compression and stuff.
Yes. So let's dumb it down a little further. Not dumb it down. Let's bring it down one more step and talk about it a little more. So aperture, that is the hole, the size of the hole in the end of your lens. So it moves just like this, up and down. So it determines how much light comes in. It also changes your depth of field. So what depth of field is, if you have a very, very large number for your f-stop, like f20, like I will show you right here, you still have a lot of stuff in focus in your background. And then if you take it at somewhere about f3.5 or f4.5, you will get pictures like these. So you have a super, super blurred background, which gives you a lot of depth of field, which is much more cinematic, more portrait-like, and it just looks all around amazing.
And considering the fact that I just learned this and my camera is not like as good as his camera, but I started taking pictures with some of the settings you were suggesting, and I was taking amazing pictures. So it doesn't mean that if you don't have a really good camera, if you know your settings really well, you can make really good stuff happen. So I just learned that like 2 seconds ago.
Little tip for you. When you have a very shallow depth of field, so when you have that big aperture, that f3.5, you get that really compressed background, lights do this really cool thing called bokeh. You get these cool little circles, and it just makes your pictures look super, super cool. All those things that those Instagram filters like to try to do for you, you can do it on your own without having to use a filter.
Yeah, so let's take some more pictures.
Let's take some more pictures and let's move on to the next tip. All right, guys. Yes, it is dark because we're about to give you an example and explain to you what ISO is. So ISO stands for International Organization Standardization. So what ISO is when you change it, the higher the number, it makes your sensor more sensitive to light. So right now, we don't have too much crazy light. We're in the shade, sun's going down. We're at ISO 200. So it's really, really dark. Our sensor is not that sensitive. So I come over here and we will play with it. 400, 800, 1600. So that changes it and makes it so you can actually see what's going on. Another way to think about your ISO is it is fake light. It is faking the amount of light that's actually around you. So one thing to be cautious about when you're talking ISO is to be careful on how high you go. Because the higher you go, you're gonna get more film grain. So don't be scared to bump up your ISO. So like this man, we were actually just talking about it off camera, how he was always scared to bump up his ISO up there to 3200, 6400 because of that grain. But if you can expose your picture correctly in camera while using a higher ISO, you're not gonna get that grain because that grain comes from post-processing more often than just in-camera pictures.
And it's okay to take a bunch of shots. You can play around with it. If you're using a digital camera, there's really no limit. So you could just take a few shots. If you don't like the ISO or you don't like the aperture, you can change it. And we all know I take 1,000 pictures at once of the same thing. But But he's right though. I was afraid of that grain because when I'm in, when I'm in Lightroom and I'm editing stuff and something is like super off and I pull it back, I throw the exposure way up there because I'm trying to pull back some of that detail, I get that nasty grain and I'm just like, man, I don't take very good pictures.
But also another thing to think about with grain's not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Grain can actually be very cinematic and actually make your pictures look like they were taken from a film camera.
Yeah, that's cool.
Another thing with all these basic tips, if you want to get into film photography, one thing that I still do to this day when I take out my film camera is I'll take a picture first with this. I'll use the same lens, like I have a nifty 50 for my film camera and I have a nifty 50 for this. So I'll set the settings on here, I'll take a picture. If I like how that picture is exposed, I'll give the same settings on my film camera and snap the picture like that. The only difference when it comes to film cameras and ISO to digital cameras is you don't set your ISO. You buy your film depending on what ISO you want. So you go in the store, you're looking, the most popular film would be ISO 400 film. So that's usually what I shoot with. I like Fujifilm, and that's all of our tips today for the basics. Another thing to remember is not just one of these settings is important. Use them all together to get those buttery shots.
And yeah, so just get out there, get those shots. Don't be afraid. Don't be a me. Get out there and experiment. That's part of this whole art.
Trial and error.
Trial and error is getting out there. Try different lenses. Try different areas. Try different subjects. Just go out there, make it happen, and always be creative. That's kind of what this whole thing's about. Yeah. So we really appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us today. We're gonna go take some more shots, maybe take some more video. So
enjoy the B-roll in the end. But before we leave you here, you can stop to listen to us talking here in a second. But make sure you follow us on Instagram. Here's both of our Instagram handles. Give us a comment, give us a shout out. Let us know what you guys think of our Instagram grids. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a tweet talking about what you guys want to see, what you guys think. If you guys have questions, definitely shoot us a question and we will answer it. If not, just on Twitter, we will answer you back on a video. Go check out the website, check out the blogs. We're gonna start getting better at writing those.
Eventually.
We got our portfolios up there, so check those out. Those are gonna start being updated once a week. Yes, once a week.
Oh, slaps.
Also, if you guys need to get a hold of us in any way and you can't reach out to us on Twitter because you don't have a Twitter account, you don't have an Instagram, on the website we have an email. Shoot us an email. We always respond. So, as always, take your shot. Just go shoot.
Let's make it happen.